YouTube, how are we doing? All right, update for you guys. Been away from a little bit because I'm trying something else out here. So I know a lot of the comments, and a lot of what my thinking is, I need to get out of Witch Hunter, go into Gemling, and I wanted to try something else. I went full Glacial Bolt build, which I low-key kind of think is a little bit better than this one. But I want to try Explosive Shot, so that's what I've been doing this whole time. Here's the build so far. I'm still running campaign, so it's still very much work in progress. The frag rounds I really don't use. That was just early game stuff. Rapid Shot I was trying to use as a single target damage, kind of melting through bosses. It's okay. Not too great. It is okay right now with martial tempo and fire infusion here. It gives a little bit more pop to it. But explosive damage or explosive shot is for sure kind of like the AoE clear. That's pretty satisfying for these low level clearing of waves and clearing of maps and everything. So I have scatter shot with it. I love scatter shot. Obviously, you guys know from the glacial bolt build, scatter shot is my bread and butter. I love that thing so much. I also threw in primal armament for a little more fire damage with that one. Oil grenades I'll throw onto gold mobs and bosses to give more exposure. I also threw strip away on to give more exposure, a longer exposure. And then blind as well is really nice. Wind Dancer, of course, is fantastic. I think a lot of people are using Wind Dancer just to get more evasion, which is very nice. Wind Dancer can also ignite, and I threw in Fire Exposure too to give fire exposure and ignition there. Herald of Ash is like the big wave clear buff that I threw on. Obviously, Herald of Ice I think is kind of the meta right now. I wanted to get away from that. Obviously, my last build was based all around that stuff, so check that one out if you want kind of a glacial bolt freeze everything kind of build, which is super nice and it's super satisfying. Herald of Ash is not as powerful. It's kind of what I'm finding out, and I think fire damage is definitely not as powerful in this game, honestly, or at least from a mercenary standpoint. I threw Fire Mastery on there and Magnified Effect, so it'll blow things up when I ignite them, and everything should be ignited with ignition here as well as explosive shot. It basically ignites everything. So it's very nice. I have Glacial Bolt as well. I kind of want to try it out because I threw on Glacial Bolt just for a boss, just to see how it compares, and Glacial Bolt still absolutely melts, even though none of the build is tailored towards it. I finally did go Gemling after looking through everything. Obviously, Gem Studded is like the bread and butter. That's what everyone loves going for Gemling here. Here's the build path of everything. I obviously went with increased damage, which is huge. AOE for the wave clear of explosive bolt. I also found Doomsayer, which is super nice, and I noticed a very big pop with explosive shot. Very big difference with explosive shot into Herald of Ash. So this makes a really big difference that I've seen with Herald of Ash. I don't know how big of a difference that makes for Herald of Ice with the unique ring. That's the kind of the combo I had before. I also wanted crossbow reload speed, and then I'm starting to get into a lot of the elemental damages as well, so that should scale up. So right now, this is kind of what we're working with here for gear. Pretty decent crossbow, 35 to 122. The more damage, obviously, you're pumping out a lot more damage with a lot more physical damage there. And then these other things, I do need to kind of buff up on some of my resistances and stuff. Definitely the cast resist is really needed here. But you can see some of this gear is pretty decent. Nothing is crazy insane. I did get this unique, which I love, for insane lightning resist. Movement speed 2 is so nice. Evasion rating, so nice. But yeah, I need to kind of buff up the fire because I changed, I think it was my helmet here. So I'm definitely going to buff up the fire and buff up the chaos here because I have all cold and lightning. So I definitely will gear more towards chaos and fire here to balance everything out and even things out. Because when I threw these boots in, which I literally got, I think last level or something like that, maybe 2 levels ago, something pretty recently, it kind of threw off all my resistances. My boots were, I think, all fire resist, so that's why it threw everything off. But obviously I'll get there. But But yeah, level 43, so right now, nothing too insane with it, but that's kind of like the build first and foremost with it. Explosive shot, and then if I need extra damage, I'll throw a little rapid shot in there, which is alright. But Glacial Bolt, I still love it though. It's still so nice. But a little clunky, but I'm definitely gonna test out Explosive Shot and see how that one works with everything. Maybe like a Glacial Bolt into an Explosive Shot to blow everything up would be pretty freaking crazy. But it's just kind of how the build works right now. I might even try Plasma Bolt later on if Explosive Shot doesn't get any more powerful. But try this one out because I'm trying to max out Explosive Shot. I wanted to make this work and I'm kind of forcing this one to work, but you guys can test it out for yourselves. Peace. Alright, let's check out how this works out here. Let's get like a big pack. Herald of Ash is it's like okay. I really do kind of want to like train a gigantic pack here. Let's see how this shit works. Okay. That's why it's a kind of like just a smaller version of Herald of Ice, but doesn't pop everything in the area. It gives it a little bit of a satisfying pop. Some mobs do take 2 shots with it, which is kind of unfortunate. But it is kind of satisfying once you do get a big cluster. You can't just kind of pop everything. There you go. That compared to like a Glacial Bolt here. Let's take a look at a Glacial Bolt. Fire resist, I definitely feel like more mobs have fire resist than ice or cold resist. So, with that being said, I feel like we need to get a lot more exposure to get rid of all those resistances. But let's get a big mob, big train going here. And then there's big satisfying explosion compared to Glacial Bolt there. Obviously the build's a little bit different, but we can see Herald of Ash gives a decent explosion. But that's kind of like the basis of this build here. I definitely want to increase Rapid Shot to be able to melt through bosses a little bit better. A lot of it is throwing Gas Grenade into Explosive Shot for bosses. So that's kind of the main point of damage there, is just repeating that cycle over and over and over again because of all the exposure that it does, which is really great. But definitely check out this build, run on your own, let me know what you think of it. If not, then highly recommend going the ice build, because the freezing build is pretty freaking crazy too. I love that one, especially with the unique. Once you get the unique, that build feels amazing. Hopefully they make a unique for Herald of Ash that makes it broken just like Herald of Ice. But anyway, I'm gonna clear all these guys out and then see you guys in the next video, dude. Peace.